Shannon here. I'm at home nursing a migraine, and I read a little news, and I saw that our local judge, I want to say his name is Wormuth. I'm not sure I'm saying that correctly. He's a U.S. judge. He said no to the arrest of about 100 migrants that had stumbled into the newly created and haphazardly designed, kind of nonsensical in the way that it's done, new military installation. So I am in Las Cruces, New Mexico, and they've basically just about an hour or so south of where I live. I live in the Chihuahuan Desert, and so just below me is just open desert, and there's just nothing there. There's some towns, there's some farmland, and so forth. And they've just drawn this imaginary line through this just desert, and there's like no signs if you're driving south to see these places, this space. It's only coming north, and it's spread out so much that like you could easily cross it accidentally. So what it did was it created a different charge that was federal, and it's just different than what normally people would be charged with because it's a military installation now. Just for the record, I don't know of very many people that are happy to have a military installation drawn as a little ribbon at the bottom of our state. It's our land. That's ranchers' lands. That's BLM. That's Bureau of Land Management. It's public spaces. So we hike in the desert all the time. And I just wonder, like, how would we know that there's a military installation where there never was? So my husband has worked for the BLM in the past, and he's done all kinds of assessments and surveys and stuff out in the desert. So, I mean, like, he's not doing that now, but someone that does that kind of thing could easily be crossing into this without ever knowing that they're there. So this U.S. judge said no. There's no way they would know that they're in this space because you're not properly designating it. And it wasn't there, a month ago. And so people are just stumbling into it. Like there's a lot of hikers. The Continental Divide Trail is there. I've never walked that, so I don't really know exactly where it is. But people hike this all the time. So this is just poorly done, and I'm really proud of our judge for doing that. I didn't know his name before today. But I'm really thankful that people are standing up to just utter nonsense. Like, why? If you're going to do something, then do it correctly. Don't do it in such a way that's obviously going to cause these kind of problems. But beyond that, like, I just don't want a military installation right there. We have enough military bases. We don't need another one that's just in the middle of nowhere. Like, it's just silly. So you can go to these places and you can see this. And like I've gone through that area. There's a little town called Columbus. We've crossed there into Mexico. It's just a fun little day trip we've taken. It's just something, and it's nice that I can do that. I like, as a citizen of the United States, to be able to cross into Mexico. I used to live on the northern border, and we would cross into like Niagara Falls area, and we would just go. For most of my life, I could just go to Canada, and I didn't even have a passport till I moved here. We used to go into Canada, and it was nice. So I don't want that. I don't want to have those things. And if you're going to say, well, there should be a wall, there is a wall. There are places that are very inaccessible that possibly don't have walls. That's where they are. But if you are anywhere that people are going to be able to easily be, there's this huge metal wall. So if you go to like El Paso, Texas, which is where my husband works, there's a massive wall there. So a lot of the border is actually private lands. It's people's farms and ranches and so forth. So it gets a little trickier to put, a wall in the middle of their field where they're trying to grow a crop to support their families. So, or, which mostly I think they do have those. I think it's more just the open desert where if you try to cross there, you're probably going to die, And so there are a few people that make it. And honestly, I think like what I'm most proud of as an American is that we have always welcomed people. That's not true. There's lots of times we didn't, but in our hearts, we're like, yeah, we want to welcome people. there's a great book, America for Americans, if you are interested in when we didn't do a good job with that. But the idea is that, you know, bring us, you're tired, you're hungry, your huddled masses. That makes me very proud. And so I like having the ability for people to come here. And if they're willing to walk 2,000 miles from their home to come here for a better life, particularly if where they're coming from is a horrible place, full of wars that are caused by which is probably caused largely by the globalization that you're angry about, right? Taking your job. It took their livelihood as well in their country of origin. So I think they make the best Americans, right? The people that work really hard to come here, and they come here to work and to raise their families, and that's who I want America to be full of. So thank you, Judge Wormuth, for standing up against silliness, and hopefully if they're going to continue this silliness, they do